It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
All right, so I just have two of these triangles on top of each other for the tree skirt, and I'm just sewing them together down one edge with a 1/4 inch seam. You see those sewn together? And then I'll just add the next one. Real simple. And I have a whole stack of fabrics right here. And I'm just going to repeat that process until I get all the pieces sewn together.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again. Candy canes and silver lanes. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes.
I just finished piecing together all my triangles. These triangles, the size, are 6 inches across, 22 inches long, and 1 3/4 inches across the top. And that's before you sew them together. So that's the size that I made these. And I put 32 triangles in this skirt. So now what I'm going to do is I need to cut fabric for the backing. And I have just a solid plain white fabric that I'm going to use. You could use an old sheet as well. But the size that you don't need to cut your backing in a bunch of different triangles, but you do need to cut it in sections because it's curving. So I'm going to cut my backing. Since there's 32 triangles, I'm going to cut it in 4 sections. And so the size of my backing will be the width of 8 triangles pieced together. And so you can use tissue paper to measure it out because I'm not really using a pattern for anything. Or you can just eyeball it, but it will be the width of 8 triangles together. So what I might do is I might just lay this over the top and draw with a pencil 8 triangles, measure it out, and cut it in that shape, and I'll cut 4 sections out of the white backing, sew them together, and then I will also this Quilter's 80/20 polyfill cotton batting. It just rolls out in a thin sheet, and I'll be doing the same thing, cutting 4 sections out of this, piecing them together, putting that in between, and then I will, after I get all the pieces layered together, I will stitch in the ditch down every single row, and then it will be a nice quilted piece, and we'll finish it off with an edge of trim. So that's my plan from here on out. I'm gonna get these pieces cut out of this white fabric and also out of the quilter's batting, and we'll see what happens.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere
This is my cotton batting sections that I cut, and I did end up cutting a tissue paper template of those 8 triangles to get these larger backing pieces and batting pieces cut. But these right here, there you can see the curve right there. All I'm gonna do for these is zigzag stitch them together. Overlap them just 1/4 of an inch.
Everywhere you go, take a look at the
Just like this.
It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
This way it won't have a ton of bulk in these sections. Just overlap.
Everywhere you go, take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again. Candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every.
And if you can hear that in the background, that's my husband on the phone. He's working.
Everywhere you
So
go,
we will just,
take a look at the 5 and 10.
I'll kind of try and keep
Glistening
these
once again.
matched up.
Candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, take a look at the 5 and 10. Listening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys
All
in
right. You can see how that's
every-
just
beginning to look a lot like
sewn down flat. And I'll probably press that just a little bit, but and that's what I'm gonna do, finish sewing those together. And then I'll also do the cloth backing as well.
canes and silver lanes that glow.
Now I have all my layers pinned together. I've got the bottom backing, the batting layer, and then the top quilted layer. And now I just started from the center out, and I pinned all 3 layers together every 8 pieces because we have those quarter sections on the backing. So, and I'm gonna start from the center that I have pinned. If you could see, I've got little pins there. But I'm gonna start from the center section, and then I'm gonna sew outward all the way to the end edges. And I'm gonna stitch in each ditch. So this is a stitch in the ditch. To quilt this, every single triangle will get a stitch all the way down. And so that's the plan from here. And then when I finish, I'm just gonna trim the edges and put a border around it, and the tree skirt will be done. So all I'm doing is stitching down the ditch of each of these triangles, just like this.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, take a look at the 5 and 10. Glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again. Candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
I just finished stitching in the ditch down all my pieces, and the only thing that I have left is to trim off the excess edges, and then I'm going to wrap my bias tape binding around the edge and sew that on. That's all that's left to do. This is my bias tape, and I'm just sewing this on the edge on the back side, and then I'm going to roll it over and sew it on the front, just like that. Put a stitch down the front, and then it will be bound.
Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again.
So I sewed the bias tape to the back, and now I'm just going to turn it over, just like that, and I'm putting a stitch in it, just like that, along the edge. For the corners of my tree skirt, I don't do anything fancy to turn under the edges. So I just want to show you real quick. This is my last edge. This is on the string. It's a tie, the tie that's going across the top. But basically, this is all I do to finish off my edges. This is the raw edge of the fabric right here. I'm just gonna tuck it under like that. See that how I've tucked that under, and fold it over. Let me get it. Fold it over. If I can get it. Here we go. Tuck it under. Fold it over. See, like that. And then I'm just gonna sew all the way down the edge. Grab my scissors here. And I don't know where I put my scissors, but let me just show you up close. I don't do anything fancy. I did that on all my edges with my binding. Just tucked it under and folded it over on all 4 corners. So that's just an easy step to get things done quickly. This is my beautiful tree skirt that I made for my sister. It turned out awesome. I'm excited to give it to her. I'll just put a tie at the top with candy cane trim. Go visit the everythinghousewife.com for more details.
It's beginning to look a